is Representative Dunbar.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Right over here. Thank you, gentlemen. I'm going to just try and focus solely on Act 42, the changes of Act 42, the revenue streams, to make sure where we're at this year, 17-18 year, as well as what we're expecting in 18-19. So as we go through the different areas, if anything, you can let me know what your thoughts are. To start off with the Cat 4 casinos, the auctions, we've auctioned off 4, is that correct?
So far, 4.
And we've gotten about 120.
Yeah, we're just shy of 120 right now. We were supposed to have an auction today, but we had to postpone it because of what we thought the weather was going to be. But we have not canceled it. We're just going to Friday. So by Friday, we should have another one.
Okay, and just so I can understand, after Friday, let's say, for instance, I hope that's not the case, but let's say on Friday there are no bids.
Yes.
Do you then have to continue to have auctions and have 0 bids on them several times before you move on to the Cat 3s and those that have already purchased, or can you just move right away?
We have some various contingency plans. Whenever we get to the point, we will hold one more bid session. We will wait until we've had a 0 bid session.
Okay.
Once that happens, we have a schedule to set out every 2 weeks to do these, and we intend just to, if that were to happen, we just start the round 2, if you would. I'm trying to remember the exact dates that we're dealing.
Well, the 21st of March.
Yeah.
But because of the inclement weather and the change in this date, if there's no bids on Friday, we're
Yeah.
going to do round 1 on the 21st. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, the technical answer, because of what's happened here, if, hypothetically, we had no bids on Friday, then on the 21st, which is our next scheduled session to take bids, we would start round 2 then.
Okay.
On the other hand, if we have a bid on Friday, we will go for one more scheduled session before we want to have a session with 0 bids before we start round 2.
I understand. All right, so then it's also safe to say that all the licenses, as long as we have purchasers, will all be done in the 17-18 fiscal year.
We have set the schedule such that if we had bids every 2 weeks, we would dispose of 10 licenses in that time period. However, if we don't end up with 10, whether it be in 1 round or in 2 rounds, we'd then have to decide, make a judgment call about whether to go to the 3rd aspect of this, which would clearly stretch well into 18-19 and beyond, potentially.
Very good. iGaming, which is probably the next big number on the list. When do you anticipate that we would start putting those, the availability to apply for licenses?
Yeah.
And I think, would they have a 90-day window after you?
I'll let Kevin handle this.
Okay.
Kevin O'Toole.
Certainly, iGaming is probably the most complex of the gambling expansions, and we're working diligently on regulations. We have a 3rd set of regulations on internet gambling that was going to be approved today, but it will probably be deferred for a couple of weeks. But we are establishing that begin date for land-based casinos to submit their initial their initial petition for an internet gaming authorization. And that will probably be mid-April. So that first 90-day period will commence mid-April and will go through mid-July.
July. And then if they don't purchase, then that also can go to an outside, present entity that is not presently in Pennsylvania.
It could eventually.
That would be in next year, 18-19 fiscal year.
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
that would be 18-19, yes.
Okay, and so then your anticipation is, I guess you're not certain, but if you have everything ready by mid-April, that we should have a good idea that whether we're going to generate what we're talking about, $110 million, I guess, there.
We'll have a good idea within that first 90-day period,
Okay.
yes.
Fantasy sports, I know you told me you thought that you were pretty close on that as well. I know that doesn't generate as much, but you're anticipating that to be done in the 17-18 as far as
We're
licensing?
We're hopeful. We passed a regulation in February, or actually that was also on our agenda for the meeting today. But we have that regulation completed. It's in draft form, but we expect it to go before the board. And if they have any last-minute suggestions, we'll certainly incorporate their suggestions on that. But there is a 180-day not implementation, but effective date. So the current operators of daily fantasy sports have to get their applications into us by April 28th.
Okay.
And we're confident that they will do that.
And real quickly, because I am out of time, you've received $50 million from Philadelphia's Cat 2.
Stadium Casino, yes.
Yeah, and have you received the table gaming's fee yet on that?
Not until the last week in June. We
So
expect to
you
get
expect that in this 17-18 year? And lastly, the loan repayments, you've gotten some money in?
Yes, on the loan repayment that is part of Act 42, which gives the casinos 18 months to retire the $36.1 million. We have 7 dates for repayment of that, and the first 2 will be in this fiscal year, and that will be $10.3 million in total.
Okay. And then, what was the total? Was it 30, 35, 36?
$36.1 million.
Okay, so the rest would come in 18, 19 then?
Correct.
Thank you.